Good evening, everyone. What an atmosphere we have here tonight. Earlier, we had the rain blessing on us, and we've got the blessed of having a rainbow as well. So, wow, that's incredible. Okay, thank you all for coming and showing your support tonight. My name is Liana Damira, and I'm truly honored to be your MC for this evening's rally. This is our second rally out of the 4 we've planned thus far, and the momentum just keeps building. So tonight, our Holland-Bukit Timah GRC team is joined by the rest of our passionate and dedicated Red Dot United family. 8 candidates standing strong together, united in purpose and vision. We are here because we believe in a better tomorrow. And it's heartening to see so many of you here who believe in that too. Please join us in the middle of the field. Now, to kick off the evening and set the stage for what promises to be a powerful lineup of voices, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, a man of integrity, wisdom, and unwavering commitment, our Red Dot United Chairman, Dr. David Foo.
Thank you, Liana. Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. Okay, let me adjust a little bit, yeah? Okay. Good evening, my fellow Singaporeans, friends and residents of Holland-Bukit Timah. My name is Dr. David Foo. I'm 61 years old. I hold a PhD in chemistry, and I have spent most of my life as a chemist in senior management, and now I'm an entrepreneur. This is only half the story. The other half is this. I've always been driven by one question. How do we make this country a better place for all of us to live? Not just for the privileged few. This is why I joined Red Dot United nearly 5 years ago. Because the values that this party stands for, respect, dignity, fairness, accountability, they align with my own. We are here to offer a real alternative, a credible one, and one that begins with asking, who Singapore is for? Is Singapore for the everyday Singaporean? The nurse, the hawker, the fresh graduate, trying to rent their first home? Or is it only for those who have had more than enough? The ones who sit on boards, chairs, committees, and own multiple properties? One of the key issues that I would speak on is Singapore's dangerously low total fertility rate. And let me be clear, this is not something you can fix with baby bonuses alone. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The low TFR will better fix itself when you fix Singapore to be more livable. When people aren't burdened by huge housing debts, stressed by job insecurity, or afraid that they cannot afford to raise a child. We must create a Singapore where everyone, especially young couples, feel confident about their future. Not one where they feel priced out of their own lives, living from paycheck to paycheck, when citizens feel priced out, they check out emotionally, mentally, and sometimes physically. They leave. I've spoken to many residents in Nee Soon who say, Dr. Foo, our children are thinking of leaving, not because they don't love Singapore, because they don't see a future that they can afford. This is a heartbreaking reality. Tonight, let me introduce the amazing team standing with me in Holland-Bukit Timah GRC. We first have Sharat Kumar. Sharat is only 25 years old, a bright assistant engineer, trained in mechatronics. He's a national serviceman who believes that if you're old enough to carry a rifle, you should be trusted to decide who leads the country. Next, we have Miss Emily Wu. Emily is an educator and author with over 30 years of experience, a Public Service Commission scholar who studied music education in France. She fights for smaller classes and better support for teachers and seniors. Next, we have Fazli Talib. Fazli is a seasoned financial consultant who has worked closely with gig workers and retirees in private estates. He believes dignity should not be defined by your postal code. Next, we have Niza Subair. Niza is an operations manager who lost his job during COVID and had to take up 2 lower-paying jobs just to survive. He returned to his sector, but with less pay and more grit. He stands for those who are in their 50s and sometimes cast out too soon. Thank you, Niza. So this is not a ragtag group. We are qualified, we are grounded, and most importantly, we work as a team. Now we contrast this with the PAP team here, led by Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, a man who has been in cabinet since 2001. That's over 2 decades in power. If political office were private property, he'd probably have a permanent residency in the Istana by now. He is quite literally the face of the establishment, polished, privileged, and parachuted. He trained as an eye surgeon, but somehow ended up lecturing the rest of us on bar-top dancing and the supposed dangers of too much freedom. He once said, and I quote, "How much do you want? Do you want 3 meals a day in a hawker center, a food court, or a restaurant?" This was in a reply to a question from a PAP backbencher asking for more money for recipients on the public assistance to buy 3 meals a day. So let us not forget, this is the same man who once described his political opponents as incompetent and untrustworthy. Yet, here we are with a team of educators, engineers, financial consultants, and operations managers. People who live and work among you, among us, and not above us or above you. Vivian Balakrishnan represents what Holland-Bukit Timah has now become in the eyes of the ruling party. A fortress for the elite, a playground for the well-connected, a GRC where they assume that they don't have to try too hard because they think the rest of us are asleep. Well, we're not. We're wide awake, and we are here to offer you a real choice. See, we at RDU do not see citizens as liabilities. We see citizens as the solution to our shared future. We believe Singaporeans deserve more trust, more respect, more say in the shaping of the nation. RDU's message is simple. We want first-class citizens and a fairer Singapore. Now let me talk about what Minister Grace Fu said yesterday. She mocked our citizens' dividend proposal. She said, it's easy for the opposition to promise money. Who will pay for it? And then she said, we are taking a chicken wing from you, but giving you the entire whole chicken. Really? Did you feel that you have gotten an entire chicken? Or was it a pigeon? They look the same, but the size is really different. So what kind of chicken are they talking about? When young Singaporeans struggle to afford a first home and a roof over their heads. Ask anyone looking at the resale market price of flats today. Prices have surged astronomically. Options are shrinking. Couples want to settle down, but the system has them waiting, struggling, and competing. Just today, I spoke to a voter from Nee Soon, and he said, hey, Dr. Fu, we are pushing our bright young, talented people out of Singapore. If they cannot afford a flat, they'll leave. And that means we, the elderly, will grow old alone. Our deaths will be lonely. Is this the kind of Singapore we want? I have no answer for him. He spoke the truth. He spoke the facts. But what we can do is we can turn this around together. And this is what this election is all about. Take a look at RDU's manifesto. We call for a comprehensive housing reset. We have a rent-to-own scheme which gives young people access to affordable housing without being crushed by debt. It gives hope and not just the keys. We want to build an economy of well-being. And that does not mean GDP growth is unimportant. It is, but it's not simply only about GDP growth as an end in itself. We want our growth in GDP to translate into real, tangible well-being for the citizens who help build this country. We believe in a citizen's dividend as a permanent financial safety net for all. And no, it will not come from the reserves. It will be funded by reforming tax loopholes, ensuring top earners and large multinational corporations contribute fairly, reducing wastage in mega projects that nobody asked for. We do stand for restoring dignity and respect for our elders, respecting the aspirations of our youth, and recognizing the invisible labor of caregivers, mostly women, who prop up families, often with no recognition, support, or respect. Yes, we have ideas, solid, detailed policies, not just slogans. We don't judge you by your postal code. Just remember that. We ask that you don't judge us by our party size. Judge us instead by our ideas, by our heart, by our willingness to listen and serve. So my fellow citizens, this Saturday, 3rd May, you have a real choice. By voting for Red Dot United, you are not voting simply for a party. You are voting for yourself, for the kind of Singapore that you want your children and your children's children to grow and thrive in. A kind of Singapore where no one is left behind, where respect and dignity are reserved not just for the privileged, but a right for all. And let us not let our opponents scare you with talk of trade-offs and chickens of different sizes. Let us build a country where our young can feel secure and dream dreams again and not run away. Let us give our seniors peace of mind that they have earned. And let us make this country our home once again. So vote for Red Dot United, for first-class citizens and a fairer Singapore. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Fu, for that powerful and inspiring message. Your words remind us all why we are here, to stand together, to speak up, and to work towards a brighter, fairer Singapore for everyone. Now, let's keep this energy going, shall we? Up next, I'm proud to introduce someone who brings sharp insight, unwavering dedication, and a real heart for the people. My fellow teammate from the Red Dot United Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC team, Mr. Marcus Nyo. Shall we give him a round of applause, please?
Hello everyone, very good evening to all of you. Thank you for taking your time on a cooling evening to come to our rally today. I'm Marcus Neo, candidate for Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC. And RDU is, we're all reaching the tail end of our campaign. So I would like to invite everyone to give a round of applause for our hardworking team here at RDU. So just a couple of days ago, or perhaps 24 hours ago, our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong had an off-handed moment where he said during his rally speech that if there were more opposition voted into Parliament, there will be more property and estate taxes on private housing and landed properties. He then had quite a genuine reaction and he pointed, why is only the Marine Parade crowd reacting? I use this as an example to address the elephant in the room. We are in Holland-Bukit Timah GRC. I think it's common to associate this GRC with the elite, the wealthy, flashy cars, big houses, and perhaps the higher income segment of society. Just a couple of days ago, I sat down with Mr. PJ Thum from the Online Citizen, who, if I'm not wrong, is a resident of this GRC. Mr. PJ asked me very, very tough questions on the PAP's economic policies, long-term economic sustainability, taxes, social cohesion, and whether or not we should be moving towards perhaps a more tax-heavy society on the wealthy, redistributing our wealth. Very, very tough technical questions. He even cited an example and said that the richest people got wealthy by exploiting workers. He did really put me in a tough spot. I smiled at him and said, Red Dot United isn't against the accumulation of wealth, but we have to take a position against the type of wealth drivers that eventually lead to an unfair and unjust and frayed society. Coming from a humble background where my dad was a blue-collar worker for the most of his life, pulling in long hours in his endeavors, selling chicken rice, being a fishmonger, it is natural for me to seek financial success. Today, I've started a couple of companies. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And I told Mr. Thum, it's not about wealth in itself. It is about how the money is being made. Is our country's wealth made through the rampant influx of hot capital that Singapore, that perhaps the privileged class uses as a tax haven, driving up COEs for normal families, food prices, and housing prices? Is it through trust funds and family offices that may take advantage of potential legislation gaps that lead to an unequal accumulation of landed property, perhaps, for only a secluded segment of society? As I've mentioned before joining opposition politics, I am an entrepreneur myself with aspirations for wealth. Mr. Nassim Taleb, a philosopher that I follow closely, he argues that there are two kinds of rich, or wealth, if you will. The kind that you respect and the kind that you resent. Let me talk about the first kind, the one that you respect. Local entrepreneurs and businessmen come to mind. For example, the late Mr. Sim Wong Hoo, who was a non-graduate. He built one of Singapore's most valuable companies in the tech industry, Creative Technologies. Then we have Mr. Lim Hock Chi, CEO of Sheng Siong Group. He started selling pork from a small outfit, slogged his guts out, and eventually built Sheng Siong Enterprises to what it is today. Well, if you do a quick Google, today they are both worth hundreds of millions or even in the billions to their names. However, when we speak of them, when we refer to them amongst our friends, they are often seen as inspirational figures. You do not feel any sort of resentment towards them. They are our Singaporean entrepreneurs that reflect the grit, perseverance, innovativeness of the Singaporean spirit. On the other hand, let me get to the type that you may potentially resent. It is the bureaucratic class that rents out black and white bungalows, entirely encumbered in their own comforts, hidden from the daily struggles of ordinary Singaporeans. Well, many of them perhaps may use Singapore as a tax haven. They have new citizenships issued to them, but have never intended to integrate or to gel or to contribute to Singaporean society at large. Let me make this clear. Both capital and labor have an important role to play in every successful society. In Chinese, there's a saying, yin yang tiao he, wan wu shen yan. This means that when everything is balanced, everyone benefits and society flourishes. Now, the better question to ask is, what kind of capital and what quality of labor are we attracting or deploying? So let me tell you something surprising about Holland-Bukit Timah GRC. I am very surprised that one of my biggest donors for this political campaign came from a resident from this very GRC. And when I met my good friend and my good colleague, Mr. Harish, who is contesting beside me in HBT GRC, he told me that when he reached out to the landed estate population, he told me this: it is the rich that will vote for opposition. You see, I believe that the wealthy people too can understand that our current economic model can't continue indefinitely. There must come a breaking point where this 40-ton truck falls off the cliff. If elected, my team and I at Red Dot United will make proposals to incentivize capital to be deployed both efficiently and equitably. This is to ensure that wealthier, the middle class, and lower income segments all benefit so that no Singaporean is left behind. I don't say this out of mere idealism, but a practical appeal to self-interest of our nation and practical economics. For example, when employees feel more protected by fairer legislation, they're happier to come to work, they feel more safeguarded to speak up at work, to innovate, to propose new ideas to their employers, and to produce more. This in turn not only balances the relationship between deployers of capital and consumers of wages via labor, but this also builds a symbiotic win-win relationship between perhaps holders of capital and people who are in the labor segment. Secondly, Red Dot United will push for Singapore to invest in high-value advanced manufacturing. We'll push for Singapore to learn, innovate, replicate, similarly to Taiwan's semiconductor industry and South Korea's precision engineering and high-tech production policy. After all, Singapore was once touted as the 4 Asian tigers when it comes to economic growth. Today, I'm pretty sure you may feel likewise as I do. It can feel that we are at least a decade behind in terms of innovation, high-value manufacturing as compared to our peers in the region. Thirdly, Red Dot United will propose legislation to tackle late payments. There is a good percentage of B2B invoices in our B2B industry that is written off as uncollectible. I know, I am a B2B entrepreneur businessman as of now. To address this, we propose legislation against late payments across all industries to protect micro and small enterprises. Ultimately, we do not want a society that is resentful of the wealthier class, a society that is torn apart by divides in social economic class. I would like to reiterate, I say this not out of idealism, but also in consideration to our nation's long-term self-interest. Together, these proposals can build a Singapore where we don't have just transactional relationships, but one where all citizens from all economic classes can be glued together by a fair and just social contract. A nation where ordinary Singaporeans don't just survive, but strive. Today, Singapore stands at her pivotal moment. Your future, your family's future, and the future of all Singaporeans isn't just in one person's or one political party's hands. And while there's nothing wrong with being or having aspirations for wealth or being born into it through God's given gifts, our country's future and her people is the pride, the burden, and responsibility shared amongst all citizens. Students, working adults, retirees, singles, married, the graduates and non-graduates, the successful and the downtrodden, the young, the middle-aged, and the old. We want a society that isn't too lopsided towards either capital or labor. We want to build a progressive society that takes care of her people, both the wealthy and her poor. We want all Singaporeans from all walks of life to succeed cohesively together, to feel like they have an equal opportunity at life's lofty aspirations. We want Singaporeans from all walks of life to succeed as one united people. Vote for Red Dot United, vote for RDU's Holland-Bukit Timah GRC team. I'm Marcus Neo. Vote for Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus, for that heartfelt and compelling speech. Your dedication and clarity continue to inspire us all. Now it's my turn to speak with you, not just as your MC, but as a fellow candidate from Red Dot United. Well, I'm humbled and excited to share with you why we are standing here today and what we are fighting for together with you. Please allow me a moment to step up as the next speaker. Good evening, Singapore. My name is Liana Damira, and I'm standing here today not just as a candidate, not just as a mother or a worker, but as a Singaporean who believes we deserve better. Recently, I shared a troubling experience online about racist and sexist comments made on one of my press conference videos. At first, I chose to focus on our campaign. I let it slide. But since then, concerned Singaporeans have urged me to take a stand. And after reflection, and in light of other hateful remarks, I filed a police report. Not because I seek sympathy, but because this is bigger than me. It's about the kind of Singapore we are building for our children. A Singapore where hate has no place. Whether you're Malay, Chinese, Indian, Eurasian, or of any race. A Singapore where no woman, no minority, no human being should be told to know their place. The only thing needed for hatred to win is for good people to do nothing. Well, I refuse to do nothing. When we stay silent in the face of bigotry, we let it fester. But it made me wonder, Where were Grace Fu and Rahayu Mazam? Why did they choose to stay silent? Why didn't they condemn such misogynistic behavior, especially when they too are women serving in public office? Instead, we heard Grace Fu trying to distract us, spinning fairy tales about how the 9% GST is supposedly for our benefit. She said, it lets us tax foreigners. But the last I checked, foreigners get their GST refunds at Changi Airport before they fly home. Are we fools to be fooled again? Are we not tired of being gaslit? And what about Rahayu Mazam? She proudly spoke about helping families during her 10 years as MP. That's good work. But is that not what people like myself, volunteers, social workers, and charity workers do every day? If that's what she wants to keep doing, and her true passion is to continue helping individual families, maybe it is time she considers a role in social service agencies. I'll even write her a glowing recommendation letter myself. But in Parliament, we need more. We need courage. We need someone who speaks truth to power. We need someone who understands the real struggles faced by Singaporeans. Not just someone who nods politely and sees nothing while bills that hurt ordinary people are pushed through. Because Parliament demands more. It demands people who will stand up and speak boldly, ask the hard questions, and fight for policies that change lives. Now let me ask you, have you seen Rahayu Mazam stand up in Parliament to demand better healthcare, better job, better lives for you and your families? When was the last time you heard her challenge a bill in Parliament? When was the last time you heard her demand better policies that reflect the realities on the ground? Because I haven't. And Singaporeans deserve better. My friends, this is why we need change. We cannot afford more silent MPs. We cannot afford leaders who rubber stamp policies that make us more dependent on handouts instead of empowering us to live with dignity. Tonight, I dare say it. Elect me, Liana Damira, into Parliament. And I will do what others have failed to do in 10 years. I will ask the tough questions. I will fight for you. I will not stay silent when your lives, your futures, and your dignity are on the line. It's time for change. Vote for Red Dot United. Vote for fairer Singapore. Vote for first-class citizens, not second-class treatment. Thank you, and let's make history together. Thank you all for listening and for standing with us as we continue this journey together. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce someone truly special, a fellow comrade who has shown incredible strength, compassion, and conviction. She is the only Red Dot United leader standing in a single-member constituency. And she's doing so with grace and unwavering courage. Please join me in welcoming the formidable and inspiring Madam Kala Manikam.
Good evening, my dear Singaporeans. How are you today? Great. Feeling good? Yes, I'm so happy to see so many people here. Okay, it doesn't matter the number that counts. It's the spirit to do something different from Singapore. And I really admire you. Guys, give them a round of applause. The last rally, I shared with Singaporeans to step forward with courage to transform fear to faith, to vote for opposition. Today, I want to make a stand that opposition strengthens our government with new ideas and perspectives. I believe you have seen the headlines today morning. Can anyone shout out for me what was the headline today morning in Straits Times? Anyone? What did our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong have said? Big words. What came out? He said, oppositions will weaken. If opposition come, they will weaken their government. So I'm taking a stand today to say that oppositions strengthen our government. I'm Kala Manikam, a graduate with Masters of Arts in Education, a research-based program. As a single mother of a 16-year-old, I deeply understand the struggles and emotional burdens faced by single parents in Singapore. My career began as an SAF officer, proudly serving as part of a pioneer batch of the Tri-Service Officer Cadet Course 190 OCC. OCC stands for Officer Cadet Course. If any one of you are here from my batch, please say hi to me. Huh? While I trained alongside with men and was appointed as a platoon commander at the Officer Cadet School, I later transited into the private sector after serving obediently my contract for 7 years, where I contributed to the private sector building an on-the-job training institution for a construction company who never knew what is learning and development is all about. I'm proud of the company called Plant Engineering Construction Private Limited. Thereafter, I moved on to the healthcare, Singapore General Hospital and National Heart Centre as a learning and development officer, developing the nurses in the skills of leadership and career path where they can see themselves where they're going to arrive at the end of their journey. Over the past 20 years, I've grown into a specialized educator committed to building individual competencies and guiding their profession development. However, I've also witnessed the disheartening reality that despite so much of efforts in the last 20 years, many do not secure meaningful jobs. And you have heard about training, retraining, whatever you say. So in the last 20 years, one of my learners told me she has 80 certificates collected over a period of 1 year, but no job. So that actually, these ongoing challenges has made me step forward to speak for the rights of Singaporeans. I believe our government has a duty of care to ensure that citizens are gainfully employed so that they can support their families and protect their mental well-being. Just to relate, recently you must have heard about the news of DBS laying off 4,000 contract staff over a period of 3 years. Did the organization thought for a moment by they laying off these people, they're not just laying off one single person, but they're laying off the whole family. Did they ever thought of feeling how the whole family will be going through the challenges, especially financially in Singapore with the rising cost of living? If the organization has a great leadership, the great leaders will ensure that these people are being redeployed with redesign of jobs. What happened to our leadership? If they don't even know the skill sets of redesigning the job, then why do you employ people in the first place? So you don't employ people as and when you wish, and then you kick them out as and you wish. I believe we people are not just numbers again. I'm repeating this again in my second rally. We are not just numbers, dear Singaporeans. We are human beings with feelings and emotions. Come on, yes. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. Not too sure, still call him Prime Minister or Mr. Lawrence Wong? Yeah, okay, Prime Minister. I said, a vote for the opposition is a vote to weaken the PAP team. But let's be clear, a vote for the opposition is not a vote against Singapore. It's a vote for check and balances. It's a vote for accountability. And most importantly, it's a vote for our people, Singaporeans. Come on. We agree that Singapore stands at a crossroad, but facing its future requires all hands on deck. Not just one party. It requires robust debates, diverse perspectives, and leaders who are not afraid to be questioned. Strong government are not weakened by scrutiny. They are strengthened by it. So now you can assess yourself how confident is our government, so-called PAP, how confident they are. If they're really very confident, they will not do reboundary every 5 years. If they're really very confident, they will not tell opposition will weaken our stand. If they're really very confident, they will have a gutsy fight with opposition, with all they have in their mighty, they feel. Because they've been ruling our Singapore for 60 years. They should be super confident than what we are. We formed only in 2020, 5 years old, compared to 60 years of their ruling. They should be super confident. I'm not too sure why this statement is made. When opposition comes into parliament, they are weakened. Singaporeans, it's time for you to reflect. I'm pretty sure that you are reflecting, that's why you're here. And I'm pretty sure that every information I'm getting and all the facts we're getting is we are getting it from you. Secondly, Prime Minister Wong, I think today he cannot sleep lah. Maybe he sleep also, he's sleeping thinking of me. My name is Kala Manikam. Okay? Secondly, Prime Minister Wong claims that the opposition has not spoken seriously about our nation's challenges. With due respect, that is not accurate. Opposition party, including Red Dot United, in all the rallies you can see, they have raised critical issues from rising costs of living, income inequality, housing affordability, which now HDB housing costs more than 500,000. I could not believe. Right? To sustainability and future of workforce. These are real pressing concerns affecting Singaporeans every day. If these are not serious challenges, then what are we talking about in the past 6 days of our campaign? I think Mr. Lawrence Wong has to reflect. Is he really thinking we are not talking serious issue? We're spending many nights, sleepless nights, and working through our direction to reach out to every single Singaporeans in every corner of Singapore and every opposition party and making their stand. And he can make such a statement. Moreover, we have only raised these issues. We have also proposed solutions. RUDU, like other credible and responsible opposition parties, has put forth our manifesto with concrete strategies aimed at improving lives and strengthening Singaporean long-term resilience. We have also put together our town council plan, which sets out our plans for taking over any town council for constituencies we win. You know what is the setting? Every time they will ask this question. If you win, can you make it or not? Can you make the town council? Come on, guys. Is it so difficult to set up a town council? I don't understand. To set up a family is more challenging than setting up a town council. Come on. You have set up families and brought your families up and invested in your children, bring jobs to your children, and they're saying town council. It's a mosquito issue, no? Not a big issue, right? So basically, I'm a bit disappointed with what is the statement made. Our plans were carefully crafted by our policy team with inputs from residents we have spoken to on the ground. Has Prime Minister Wong taken the time to read these proposals, or engaged with them meaningfully. Constructive governance requires dialogue, not dismissal of alternative proposal. Just for the benefit of doubt, I'll let Mr. Lawrence Wong knows that our manifesto and our shadow budgets are in a Red Dot United website. Our Red Dot United wanted to have sustainability and to protect the environment. We did not print copies of booklets which sent to you in many pages of the manifesto, maybe to 2.7 million Singaporeans. And there they're talking about sustainability. There they're talking about climate change. And then they're talking about how to not to waste these resources. And I will ask Lawrence Wong, Mr. Lawrence Wong, can you tell me or share with us how are you saving our resources for those who really wanted it? Thirdly, let's talk about responsibility. Opposition MPs have worked hard in Parliament, on the ground, and in national discourse. And for the opposition parties, the RDU, who have yet to be elected into Parliament, we also have take our responsibility seriously, even without the full resources of the state. We are not compared to them, we are nothing, you know. We don't have much resources. And yet, we have the power of the Singaporeans. Singaporeans are the power, and we are with you. When you're with me, when you're with us, we are with you. So that's the power. I think he didn't realize the power of people. You will soon realize it. Over the past 5 years, ever since RDU contested in GE 2020, we have been walking the ground in various constituencies, especially Jurong GRC, now largely rezoned already, as Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC, Jurong Central SMC, and more recently, Nisun GRC and over at Holland-Bukit Timah GRC. I believe some of you would have seen our posters or met our team working very hard to meet and greet you in places like Toi, Jenghua, etc. We have also been listening to your feedback so that we can be a voice and hopefully represent your concerns and aspiration in Parliament should we elected. But I want to assure you one thing. Parliament is being set every month, and you can do a calculation how many people go to the Parliament. And most of the time, the Parliament back is quite empty or they're sleeping. I didn't say, Singaporeans send me messages to show me videos of their sleeping, okay? But we want to take this commitment. When we are in Parliament, every month without fail, our RDU team will be there to address issues, address concerns, and debate about issues. Yes, RDU? We are here to simply ask questions to make noises. We are not here to ask questions and to make noises. We are here to serve, to represent, and to build better future alongside all Singaporeans. And finally, yes, leadership renewal is important. That's what our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong said. We need a leadership renewal. Fantastic. I agree with him. Not just in PAP, but across Singapore political landscape. That's why you need diverse voices in Parliament who can challenge ideas constructively and push for better outcome. A monopoly on leadership is not renewal. Real renewal includes choices, competition, and courage. Singapore deserves a resilient democracy, one where one single party can claim sole ownership of our success. No one can claim sole ownership of success or our future. It belongs to Singaporeans, every Singaporeans, not to one particular party called PAP. So please, you have the rights, and you have the rights to have the ownership, every Singaporean. We want to be the first-class citizen, fairer Singapore. Vote for RDU. Let me take a few minutes to address a little bit in Tamil. Apparently, many of the Tamil speaking have actually raised concern that leaders who are coming forward not speaking in Tamil much. And there's one particular MP from PAP, he just came there and said, Vanakkam, 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 but the Vanakkam also he didn't pronounce properly. So it's very saddening. We are a multiracial country, and I believe we need to respect. As an Indian, whether my Tamil is good or not good, but I need to give respect to the Indian community here. Just a short one. முந்தைய கூட்டத்தில் நான் சிங்கப்பூரை பற்றி தெரிவித்தேன். அச்சத்தை மாற்றி நம்பிக்கையுடன் எதிர்க்கட்சிக்கு ஓட்டளிங்கள். இன்று நான் உறுதியாக ஒரு நிலையை எடுத்திருக்கிறேன். எதிர்க்கட்சிகள் இருந்தால்தான் அரசு வலிமையாகும். புதிய யோசனைகள், புதிய மாற்றங்கள். நான் கலாமாணிக்கம், கல்வித்துறையில் மாஸ்டர் பட்டம் பெற்றவர். ஒரு 16 வயது மகளுடன் ஒத்தை தாயாக வாழ்கிறேன். ஒன்றைய பெற்றோர்களின் உண்மையான வாழ்க்கை கஷ்டங்களை நான் அனுபவித்திருக்கிறேன், சந்திச்சிருக்கிறேன். என் வாழ்க்கையில் நான் SAF-இல் ஒரு அதிகாரியாக பணிபுரிந்தேன். அங்கே நான் பிளட்டூன் கமாண்டராக பெண்களுக்கு ஒரு லீடர்ஷிப்பாக ட்ரைனிங் நடத்தினேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் பிரைவேட் செக்டரில் நான் ஒரு லேர்னிங் அண்ட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் இதில் வந்து சிங்கப்பூர் ஜெனரல் ஹாஸ்பிட்டலும் நேஷனல் ஹார்ட் சென்டர்லையும் நர்ஸுகளுக்கு ட்ரைனிங் நடத்தினேன். 20 ஆண்டுகளாக ஒரு சிறப்பு கல்வியாளராக திறமையாக வளர்க்கும் பணியில் இருக்கின்றேன். ஆனாலும் இது ஒரு பொதுவான கஷ்டமான நிலைமை. நாங்கள் நிறைய சிங்கப்பூரர்களை ட்ரெயின் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். ஆனால் கவலைக்குரியது என்னவென்றால் பலருக்கு வேலை கிடைக்கவில்லை. அவங்களுக்கு புரிந்த ஒரு சம்பளமும் கிடைக்கவில்லை. அந்த ஒரு கஷ்டத்தில் நான் ஒரு முடிவெடுத்தேன். சிங்கப்பூர் மக்களுக்காக குரல் கொடுக்க வேண்டும், சிங்கப்பூர் மக்களுக்காக பேச வேண்டும், துணிந்து நிற்க வேண்டும் என்று. நான் ஒரு பெண்ணாக நின்று, ஒரு ஒற்றை தாயாக நின்று, ஒரு தைரியமாக நான் நின்று இங்கே நிற்கும் போது அந்த ஒரு தைரியமும் உங்களுக்கு வர வேண்டும். எதிர்கட்சிகளுக்கு ஓட்டளிக்க நம்ம பிரதமர் லாரன்ஸ் வாங் சொல்லியிருக்கிறார், எதிர்கட்சி வந்தால் அவங்க கட்சி வந்து ரொம்ப வலிமை இல்லாமல் தோற்றுவிடும் என்று. எனக்கு ரொம்ப மனம் கஷ்டமாக இருக்கிறது. எப்படி எதிர்கட்சி வந்தால் அவர்கள் நன்றாக இருக்க மாட்டார்கள்? எதிர்கட்சி வந்தால் தானே அவங்க இன்னும் மேலும் மேலும் வேலை செய்ய முடியும். அதை விட்டு எப்படி அவர்கள் ரொம்ப வீக் ஆக முடியும் எனக்கு புரியவில்லை. ஒரு கட்சி நிர்வாணம் போதாது. பல கட்சிகள், பல யோசனைகள், பல மாற்றங்களுடன் இங்க வர வேண்டும். நாங்கள் சேவை செய்ய வந்திருக்கிறோம். எங்களோட மேனிஃபெஸ்டோ, ஷேடோ பட்ஜெட் எல்லாம் வந்து எங்களோட வெப்சைட்ல red.வெப்சைட்ல இருக்கிறது. தயவு செய்து அதை போய் பாருங்கள். எதுக்கு பார்க்க சொல்கிறேன் என்றால், அவர் பிரதமர் லாரன்ஸ் வாங் அதை பார்க்கவில்லை. அவர் என்ன சொல்லிவிட்டார், நாங்களாம் சீரியஸா எந்த ஒரு முயற்சியும் எடுக்கவில்லை என்று. எது பேசினாலும் கரெக்டாக பேச வேண்டும், பேசுறதுக்காக பேசக்கூடாது. அதனால் அவர் முக்கியமாக எங்களோட வெப்சைட்ல போய் அதை பார்க்க வேண்டும். நம்மளுக்கு வலுவான ஜனநாயகம் தேவை. அதனால் எங்களுக்கு ஓட்டு அளிங்கள், ஆர்டிக்கு ஓட்டு அளிங்கள். நன்றி, வணக்கம். Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Kala. As the leader, I believe that we'll need to be humble ourselves and we'll need to treat ourselves with humility. When we did say anything wrong, we will need to apologize as well. I will have to correct that as we do raise families, it's the same that managing a town council is not a trivial issue as well. We will ensure that if elected into parliament, we will ensure the management of town councils is at our tip-top stage and not to do any estate into any slum. I will have to reiterate that again, that town council management is really crucial and important. That is why at Red Dot United, we took 3 years to gain feedback from residents and to also plan out our town council management plan in detail, as carefully and as detailed as ever. Again, like what Madam Kala had mentioned earlier, our town council management plan is available on our website. So please, if you can, take a look on it and have a read up on it too. Thank you, Madam Kala, for the stirring and heartfelt speech earlier. Your courage and authenticity truly resonate with all of us, and we are proud to have you leading the charge in your constituency. Now let's keep the momentum going, shall we? Our next speaker is someone I have the honor of working alongside on the Red Dot United Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC team. He brings a wealth of experience, a grounded perspective, and a deep passion for serving the community. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Osman Sulaiman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Singaporeans. I'm Osman Sulaiman. I'm one of the candidates in Jurong East and Bukit Batok GRC. So today I stand before you with a simple but powerful message. Singaporeans deserve more. We deserve a system that listens, a government that cares, and a future that is built together with compassion, conscience, and courage. And this is why I'm asking you to stand with Red Dot United. Singapore has achieved much, but we all know the challenges we face today are different. Rising costs, growing inequality, anxiety about jobs and the future. And yet, the solutions we hear from the government are often the same. More committees, more policies, made behind closed doors, more of the same. So for too long, we have been told to accept things as they are. We have been told that decisions must be made for us, not with us. We have been told that economic growth alone is enough, even when some of us are left struggling. Singapore is not just an economy. It's not all about just GDP. Red Dot United believes every Singaporean matters, whether you are young or old, rich or poor. We are not afraid to walk the road less traveled if we believe that this will bring us prosperity. We are here to build a Singapore that is fair, inclusive, and full of hearts. This is the heart for those viewing live at home. Let us lead with compassion. Policies must be about people. It is not enough to talk about resilience. We need to make sure that our workers are protected, our seniors are cared for, and our youth are empowered. No Singaporean should feel abandoned in their own home. Let us live with a conscience. We demand openness. We demand accountability. Why are decisions always made behind closed doors? Why do we have to fight so hard to get just the basic information? A confident government does not hide. It will listen. A Red Dot United will stand firm to make sure your choice is heard. Let us be courageous. It is easy to stay silent. It is easy to say, let's not rock the boat. But Singapore's success was never built on fear. It was built on courageous people daring to dream, daring to do it better. Today, we need that courage again. Today, we need you. Voting for Red Dot United is not about rejecting Singapore. It is about protecting it. Protecting our future, protecting our rights, protecting our Singaporean spirit. Dear voters, when you cast your vote, you are sending a message. You are saying that we want a stronger voice. We want leaders who listen. We want a Singapore that belongs to all of us. And with Red Dot United, you are voting for that hope. You are voting for that courage. You are voting for a brighter, bolder, and better Singapore. Recently, MP Mariam Jaafar in her speech mentioned that some segments of the society plant doubts in the minds of the voters regarding the state of affairs of the Malay community. She spoke as though the Malay Muslim community is all fine and dandy, but record shows otherwise. We need the awareness among the PAP Malay MP that there is still a gap between the Malay community and other communities. For example, in the field of education, employment, and economics, many problems like discrimination, level of crime, and high divorce rates still exist within the community. Without awareness and the courage to apply effective strategies, many of these problems will not be solved. So on polling day, we want you to bring your family, we want you to bring your friends, bring your hope, bring your dreams, and love for Singapore, and vote for Red Dot United. Together, we can build Singapore we believe in. Thank you, and Majulah Singapura.
All right, thank you, Osman, for the passionate and thoughtful speech. Your commitment to the people and your vision for a more inclusive Singapore continue to inspire us all. So now, we turn our attention to the north, where another strong voice is rising. She's a dedicated advocate, a sharp thinker, and a proud member of Red Dot United, Nee Soon GRC team. Please join me in welcoming my comrade from the north, the ever-inspiring Miss Sharon Lin.
Thank you, Liana. Dear Holland-Bukit Timah voters, good evening. I'm Sharon Lin, a Nee Soon GRC candidate. I'm 40 years old, and I'm in the IT industry for more than a decade. Tonight, I'm very happy to be here, together with our RDU Holland-Bukit Timah team, who is in the front seats here, to garner more votes and support for their fight in this constituency. The team that we have here is a humble team who has been working very hard on the ground every day, who is listening to your concerns every day, who is ready to serve you with a humble heart, and whom I know will never talk down to you. Unlike one PAP minister who said yesterday, by now you should know who that PAP minister is, that what the PAP has done so far is to just take a chicken wing from you and give you back the whole chicken. But you know what? I don't feel rich. Does any one of you feel rich? Or you feel pinched? I'm here tonight not just as a candidate, but also as one of you who feel that our ministers are living in their ivory tower, who cannot feel the same concerns as you do, who hear your words and then brush them aside. I am one of you. I feel the same concerns as you, and I see the same struggles as you do. I strongly believe that you deserve a representative who is humble, who do not just hear your words, but take your concerns seriously. In the past, Vivian once asked, and I'm referring to Vivian Balakrishnan. He asked, do you want 3 meals in a hawker center, food court, or restaurant? He posed this question as if it was just a matter of choice, a matter of preference. Did he ever consider that for some Singaporeans, eating at a hawker center is no longer an option? Does he know that there are some Singaporeans who are even skipping meals just to save some money? Does he know that there are Singaporeans who are relying on ultra-processed food, such as instant noodles, just to get by? And does he know that there are people who are picking up scraps from hawker center at night to eat the leftovers? And I ask you, is it wrong for lower income families to occasionally enjoy better meals in a better ambience, in a food court or restaurant occasionally? Is that too much to ask? Why does the PAP like to treat ordinary Singaporeans as if we are lesser beings? Vivian also said he wanted to live in the black and white bungalow because of a growing family. Does he know many families like yours have to live in smaller houses and have to pay more, much more than your parents' generation? Does he know that many Singaporeans are finding themselves trapped in a 30-year mortgage while facing job insecurity without a strong social safety net? And does he know that more and more young couples cannot even afford a flat now? They cannot even start a family and dare not get married. The PAP likes to talk about understanding your needs. They say they walk with you. But would someone who walks with you talks down to you like that without solving your problems? Dear voters, we don't need more PAP MPs who are so out of touch. We don't need more PAP MPs who take your struggles for granted. We need representatives who live in the real world, in the same role as you. My profession in the IT industry has equipped me with the skills to analyze situations logically and to make informed decisions based on facts. The fact is that by putting more money into your pockets, it will help all Singaporeans to live a more dignified life. We want Singaporeans to be able to continue to afford food at hawker centers, to continue to support our hawkers. That's why we are calling for a revert of GST to 7%. This reduction will immediately put more money into the pockets of our citizens, allowing you to have 3 proper meals without compromising your health. It would also allow our elderly to enjoy the dignity of life in their old age, free from going hunger or being malnourished. We also want to abolish the carbon tax to make electricity affordable for ordinary families and businesses. You know, I've always been aware of the different worlds that people live in, Even as a secondary school student, I remembered I have classmates who refused to eat at non-air-conditioned eateries because they say they were hot and dirty. And I also remember getting teased by a classmate who was annoyed with me for not being able to use a computer. I'm referring to some time back, 20 over years ago, when computers were just coming out, and only the higher income families could afford a computer. These experiences taught me that not everyone has the same advantages in life. That's why we need more opposition voices in the parliament to keep PAP on their toes, to remind them that they are here to serve you, to make Singapore fairer, and to better the lives of all Singaporeans, not just a few. Voters of Holland-Bukit Timah, a vote for the PAP is a vote for the status quo. Singapore needs change, not stagnation. Singapore needs to move forward boldly, not to stay at where we are now and being afraid of change. RDU manifesto calls for changes that allow Singaporeans to share in the collective prosperity of this country, ensuring that everyone, from the young to the old, from the singles to those with families, from blue-collar to white-collar workers, for all of them to be able to enjoy a dignified life, ensuring that no one is left behind. The trickle-down economics of the PAP for the past few decades is a shame, leaving many Singaporeans behind. When you cast your vote on the 3rd of May, ask yourself these important questions. Do you want a representative who understands your struggles, who lives among you, who will fight for you? Or do you want more of the same? More empty promises? More out-of-touch rhetoric? More of the same system that advances the interests of the elites and the ministers, but leaves you behind? Dear voters, I believe you can sense that we are at a different juncture now. We are facing a trade war ahead, and also very advanced technological changes. We think that the way forward is not to stay put, but to put one foot forward, start debating, and start trying new ideas. If this is for you, vote for Red Dot United. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for the powerful and heartfelt speech. I would say that we do know now mortgage is at 25 years, not 30 years. However, regardless of either 25 or 30, the burden still remains the same. Sharon, your passion and sincerity shine through in every word, and it's clear that Nee Soon is in strong and capable hands. Now, continuing the charge from our Red Dot United Nee Soon GRC team, we welcome another distinguished voice, a man of thought, principle, and deep conviction. Please put your hands together for Dr. Syed Alwi Ahmad.
Good evening, friends and fellow Singaporeans. My name is Dr. Said Alwi Ahmad. I'm a physicist by training, a teacher by profession, and a Singaporean by heart. I've spent much of my life studying black holes and quantum fields, but the most urgent questions I face today aren't cosmic. They're deeply human. They're about fairness, dignity, and whether this country we all love still sees every citizen as first class. Let me begin with one of the proposals I helped develop, one that is especially close to my heart, the Supporting EduFund Tuition Scheme, or SETS. Some of you may already know that there are race-based tuition schemes in Singapore today. The idea behind them was well-meaning, but let's be honest, it's time to move forward. What SETS offers is something more Singaporean. It is race-blind, and it focuses on need, not ethnicity. It targets underprivileged students in small groups, no more than 4 students per class. Because every child deserves attention. Every child deserves belief. Every child deserves a fair shot. We don't believe in handouts. We believe in building people up. That's what fairness really means. Not equal outcomes, but equal opportunities. And SETS is one way of getting us closer to that vision. But fairness does not just live in our classroom. It must live in our most serious policy choices, including the energy that powers our nation. Let me speak plainly. I'm not against science. After all, I'm a physicist myself. And I understand the attraction of nuclear energy. It seems efficient, low in emissions, and promising in theory. But theory doesn't clear up radioactive waste. As a physicist, I have studied what happens when things go wrong. Nuclear waste remains hazardous for tens of thousands of years, and we live in a small island, not a sprawling continent where you can bury it far away from people. So I ask, if we build a nuclear plant, where are we going to store that waste? In someone's backyard? Near a reservoir? Under the sea? And more importantly, have we even asked the public? In a democracy, transparency must come before technology. We cannot afford to let this decision be made in some secure boardroom, then presented to the public as a fait accompli. The question of nuclear energy is not just a scientific one. It is a moral and political one. Let me be very clear. If elected, I will push for robust public consultations, independent reviews, and a full national debate before any irreversible decision is made. Because when the risks are generational, the decision must be collective. Now let me take a step backward and ask a different kind of question. What kind of Singapore are we building? Not just in policy, but in spirit. One of the most powerful moments I had 3 years ago was attending a community discussion about Lieutenant Adnan. It led me to joining RDU as a member. Many young Singaporeans may not know who he was, but we must remember. Lieutenant Adnan Saidi was a Singapore-born Malay officer who gave his life resisting the Japanese invasion in 1942. He was captured, tortured, and killed because he refused to surrender. He is not just a Malay hero, he is a Singaporean hero. That's why RDU proposes that we formally commemorate Lieutenant Adnan Day every year, to teach our children that courage, loyalty, and sacrifice transcends race. We are told to pledge regardless of race, language, or religion. But how can we expect our people to believe those words if our collective memory erases the contributions of non-majority communities? Honoring Lieutenant Adnan is not about romanticizing war. It is about remembering who stood firm for this land, even when the odds were impossible, and reminding our children that heroes come in all skin tones. And speaking of language, let me now turn to something I care deeply about: the Malay language, the national language. As head of RDU's Malay Bureau, I've spoken to countless parents, students, and educators who are heartbroken that Malay is disappearing from everyday life in Singapore. Yes, it's an official language. It's on our currency and in our anthem. But let's be honest, it is slowly fading from relevance for too many of our young people. That's why RDU is calling for a non-examinable Malay language module, something light-hearted, fun, and open to all Singaporeans as a third language option. Because language should not just be a subject, it should be a bridge. We want a system where our young can learn to converse in Malay without the stress of being graded, where they can connect with their Malay Muslim friends in a way that is warm, human, and real. This is not just a language issue, it's a social cohesion issue. And frankly, if we want a more united Singapore, we need more shared spaces, not more separate tracks. If we want the Malay language to live, we must make it accessible, joyful, and inclusive. Now, friends, I want to close with something that may seem far away, but is in fact very close to our conscience. It is about Palestine. Red Dot United has called the Singapore government to recognize Palestine as a sovereign state within the framework of a two-state solution. Some have said that this is not our fight, that we should stay neutral, that we are too small to make a difference. But neutrality in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it is complicity. We are not calling for sides. We are calling for dignity, peace, and justice. We are calling for the recognition of Palestinian statehood because statelessness is at the heart of prolonged suffering. Singapore has always prided itself on being principled, peaceful, and pragmatic. And the pragmatic reality is lasting peace in the Middle East is impossible without justice for both Israelis and Palestinians. Recognizing Palestine is not about taking a side in a religious conflict. It is about taking a stand for sovereignty, humanity, and hope. As Singaporeans, we know what it feels like to be a small nation surrounded by larger powers. We should know better than anyone that sovereignty is not a gift, It is a right. And if we can speak up on Ukraine, we must also speak up for Gaza. My friends, whether it is education, energy, heritage, language, or justice, our future cannot be built on autopilot. It must be chosen. We must look closer like a microscope to truly understand daily struggles, and we must look further like a telescope to never lose sight of the possible. The time to choose is now. The power to change is in your hands. Vote for Red Dot United. Vote for first-class citizens. A fairer Singapore. Majulah Singapura. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll speak in the national language, bahasa kebangsaan. Selamat malam, rakan-rakan dan saudara-saudara rakyat Singapura. Nama saya Dr. Said Alwi Ahmad. Saya seorang ahli fizik dari segi latihan, seorang pendidik dari segi profesion, dan seorang rakyat Singapura dari segi hati dan jiwa. Saya telah menghabiskan sebahagian besar hidup saya mengkaji lohong hitam dan teori medan kuantum. Tetapi persoalan yang paling mendesak hari ini bukanlah persoalan kosmik. Ia persoalan kemanusiaan. Ia tentang keadilan, marwah, dan sama ada negara yang kita cintai ini masih melihat setiap warganya sebagai warga kelas pertama. Izinkan saya bermula dengan salah satu cadangan yang saya bantu rangka. Satu yang sangat dekat di hati saya. Skim Tuition Dana Pendidikan Sokongan atau SETS. Sesetengah dari anda mungkin tahu bahawa terdapat skim tuition berasaskan kaum di Singapura hari ini. Niat asalnya memang baik, tapi marilah kita berterus terang. Sudah tiba masanya kita bergerak ke hadapan. Apa yang SETS tawarkan adalah sesuatu yang lebih bersifat kebangsaan. Ia buta kaum dan ia memberi tumpuan kepada keperluan, bukan etnik atau kaum. Ia menyasarkan pelajaran kurang bernasib baik dalam kumpulan kecil tidak lebih daripada 4 pelajar dari satu kelas. Kerana setiap anak berhak mendapat perhatian. Setiap anak berhak diyakini. Setiap anak berhak mendapat peluang yang adil. Kami di RDU tidak percaya kepada pemberian percuma. Kami percaya dalam membina potensi manusia. Itulah makna sebenar keadilan. Bukan penyamaan hasil, tetapi penyamaan peluang. Dan SETS adalah salah satu jalan ke arah visi itu. Tetapi keadilan tidak boleh berhenti di bilik darjah. Ia mesti hidup dalam dasar negara, termasuk sumber tenaga yang menggerakkan Singapura. Izinkan saya berterus terang. Saya bukan anti-sains. Sememangnya saya seorang ahli fizik. Saya faham daya tarikan tenaga nuklear. Ia kelihatan cekap, rendah pelepasan karbon, dan kelihatan baik secara teori. Tetapi teori tidak membersihkan sisa radioaktif. Sebagai seorang ahli fizik, saya tahu apa yang boleh terjadi bila sesuatu gagal. Sisa nuklear kekal berbahaya untuk berpuluh-puluh ribu tahun. Dan kita hidup di sebuah pulau kecil. Bukan benua luas di mana sisa itu boleh disimpan jauh dari orang ramai. Maka saya bertanya, jika kita bina loji nuklear, di manakah kita akan simpan sisa itu? Di belakang rumah siapa? Dekat dengan takungan air? Atau di dasar laut? Dan yang lebih penting lagi, adakah kita sudah bertanya kepada rakyat? Dalam demokrasi, ketelusan mesti mendahului teknologi. Kita tak boleh membiarkan keputusan sebesar ini dibuat di bilik mesyuarat tertutup lalu diumumkan kepada rakyat sebagai keputusan muktamad. Persoalan tenaga nuklear bukan hanya persoalan saintifik. Ia adalah persoalan moral dan politik. Izinkan saya tegaskan jika saya dipilih, saya akan memperjuangkan konsultasi awam yang menyeluruh, semakan bebas dan perbahasan nasional sepenuhnya. Sebelum apa-apa keputusan dibuat kerana apabila risikonya bersifat antara generasi, keputusannya mesti bersifat kolektif. Sekarang mari saya berundur selangkah dan ajukan soalan lain. Apakah jenis Singapura yang sedang kita bina? Bukan sahaja dalam dasar, tapi dalam semangat. Salah satu pengalaman paling menyentuh bagi saya 3 tahun lalu ialah menghadiri sesi perbincangan komuniti mengenai Lieutenant Adnan. Ia membawa saya menyertai Red Dot United. Ramai anak muda Singapura mungkin tidak mengenali beliau, tetapi kita mesti memperingati beliau. Lieutenant Adnan ialah seorang pegawai Melayu kelahiran Singapura yang mengorbankan nyawanya mempertahankan tanah air semasa pencerobohan Jepun pada tahun 1942. Beliau ditangkap, diseksa dan dibunuh kerana enggan menyerah diri. Beliau bukan sekadar wira Melayu, beliau adalah wira Singapura. Sebab itulah RDU mencadangkan agar kita memperingati Hari Lieutenant Adnan setiap tahun untuk mengajar anak-anak kita bahawa keberanian, kesetiaan dan pengorbanan melangkaui kaum. Kita diajar untuk berikrar tanpa mengira kaum, bahasa atau agama. Tetapi bagaimana kita mahu rakyat mempercayai ikrar itu jika sumbangan komuniti bukan majoriti dipadamkan dari memori kolektif? Menghormati Lieutenant Adnan bukan tentang mengagung-agungkan peperangan. Ia tentang mengingati siapa yang mempertahankan tanah ini ketika semua harapan hampir hilang. Dan mengingatkan anak-anak kita bahawa wira hadir dalam semua warna kulit. Dan bercakap tentang bahasa, izinkan saya sentuh sesuatu yang amat saya pedulikan, bahasa Melayu. Sebagai Ketua Biro Melayu RDU, saya telah berbual dengan ramai ibu bapa, pelajar dan pendidik yang sedih melihat bahasa Melayu semakin hilang dari kehidupan harian di Singapura. Ya, bahasa Melayu adalah bahasa rasmi. Ya, ia tertera pada wang kertas kita dan dinyanyikan dalam lagu kebangsaan. Tapi marilah kita berjujur dengan diri sendiri. Ia semakin terpinggir dalam kalangan generasi muda. Sebab itulah RDU mencadangkan satu modul bahasa Melayu tanpa peperiksaan. Sesuatu yang santai, menyeronokkan dan dibuka kepada semua rakyat Singapura sebagai pilihan bahasa ketiga. Kerana bahasa bukan sekadar mata pelajaran, ia sepatutnya menjadi jambatan. Kita mahu sistem di mana anak-anak kita boleh belajar bertutur dalam bahasa Melayu tanpa tekanan peperiksaan. Di mana mereka boleh berhubung dengan rakan-rakan Melayu Islam mereka secara mesra, tulen dan ikhlas. Ini bukan soal bahasa. Ini sebenarnya soal perpaduan sosial. Dan terus terang jika kita mahukan Singapura yang lebih bersatu, kita perlukan lebih banyak ruang bersama bukan lebih banyak laluan berasingan. Jika kita mau bahasa Melayu terus hidup, kita mesti menjadikannya mudah diakses, menggembirakan dan inklusif. Akhir sekali, rakan-rakanku, izinkan saya tutup dengan satu perkara yang mungkin kelihatan jauh, tapi sebenarnya dekat dengan hati nurani kita. Ia tentang Palestin. RDU telah menggesa kerajaan Singapura untuk mengiktiraf Palestin sebagai sebuah negara berdaulat dalam rangka penyelesaian dua negara. Ada yang berkata, ini bukan perjuangan kita, bahawa kita patut berkecuali, bahawa kita terlalu kecil untuk membuat sebarang perbezaan. Tetapi berkecuali dalam menghadapi ketidakadilan bukanlah berkecuali. Ia adalah bersubahat. Kami tidak menyeru untuk memilih pihak. Kami menyeru supaya Palestin diiktiraf kerana ketiadaan kedaulatan adalah punca penderitaan yang berpanjangan. Singapura sentiasa berbangga sebagai sebuah negara yang berprinsip, aman dan pragmatik. Dan realiti pragmatik ialah keamanan berkekalan di Timur Tengah mustahil tanpa keadilan untuk rakyat Israel dan Palestin. Mengiktiraf Palestin bukan tentang memilih sisi dalam konflik agama. Ia tentang berdiri teguh, mempertahankan kedaulatan, kemanusiaan dan harapan. Sebagai rakyat Singapura, kita tahu bagaimana rasanya menjadi negara kecil dikelilingi kuasa besar. Kita tahu bahawa kedaulatan bukanlah suatu hadiah. Ia adalah hak. Dan jika kita boleh bersuara untuk Ukraine, kita juga mesti bersuara untuk Gaza. Rakan-rakanku, sama ada dalam pendidikan, tenaga, warisan, bahasa atau keadilan, masa depan kita tidak boleh dibiarkan berjalan sendiri. Ia mesti dipilih dengan sedar. Kita mesti memandang dekat seperti mikroskop untuk memahami perjuangan rakyat. Dan kita mesti memandang jauh seperti teleskop untuk tidak kehilangan impian masa depan. Masa memilih adalah sekarang. Kuasa untuk berubah ada di tangan anda. Undilah Red Dot United, undilah warga kelas pertama, Singapura yang lebih adil, majulah Singapura. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you for the powerful, insightful and thought-provoking speech, Dr. Alwi. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Now, we bring the spotlight back to Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC, where I'm proud to introduce another one of my steadfast teammates, an award-winning artist, a passionate advocate for justice, fairness, and the everyday Singaporean. Please welcome Mr. Ben Phua.
Hello, OK。居民朋友们，大家好，我是潘家定。新加坡从贫穷小岛变成一个繁华国家，我们要感激前辈们的贡献。但今天的问题不能靠回忆过去来解决。第四代 PAP 领导人面对现实挑战，显得力不从心。这几个月，我在社区走访，听到许多声音， 大家对 BAB 政府有不少不满。第一，高生活成本，房子太贵，医药太贵，生活开销越来越大，很多家庭感到压力巨大，政府的应对让人失望。第二，贫富差距大，虽然新加坡整体经济不错，但财富集中在少数人手中，大多数人生活不轻松，社会阶层越来越难打破。第三，社会问题严重，心理健康、老年孤独、年轻人焦虑等等问题 ，BAB 政府并没有有效方案来解决，只看经济数字，不看人民生活。第四，住房和移民政策让人不满，年轻人买不起房，本地人觉得机会越来越少，政策没真正以新加坡人为本。过去 BAB 政府说要让我们过瑞士式生活，但今天连安宁生活都难。在4月28号的一场竞选演讲中，不知道你们还记得吗？ BAB 候选人 David Ho 发表了一遍听上去激情四射、充满理想的励志演讲，但是激情本身并不能解决居民真正面对的难题。这场演讲听起来更像是一场励志讲座，一场包装精美的推销会。感性的故事听起来确实打动人心，可是可以做到吗？我们必须要清醒地认识到，激情并不能代表实质性的担当与行动。是的 ，David Ho 出身草根，经历坎坷，这是值得尊重的个人故事。但问题是，当他一旦成为执政党的一员，成为国会议员之后，他是否还有勇气、有立场，勇敢地为居民利益去质疑、去反对 BAB 政府那些不利于人民的政策？你说呢？选民需要的从来不是一个懂得讲故事、制造感动或者会说话的人，选民要的是一个有独立人格、独立思考的人，一个敢于在需要的时候站出来为人民说真话的人。当 David Ho 的立场早已注定了他无法做到这一点，因为他属于 BAB 执政党，他的发声空间、他的行动轨迹，最终都必须以党意为重，而不是以民意为先。激情可以煽动人心，但是只有独立人格和无畏担当，才能真正守护民众的利益。最后，我想对第4代 BAB 领导团队说，如果你们只能靠过去的成就证明自己，那就是说明你们今天做的不够好。新加坡人不是2等公民，我们有权在这片土地上过有尊严、有希望的生活。红点同心党相信，每个人都应该被公平对待。多元政治能让国家更强，不是更乱。不同声音值得尊重，请支持红点同心党，为一个更公平、更温馨的新加坡投下你的一票。Vote Red Dot United, Vote RDU。谢谢大家。Now let me speak in English. Hello Singaporeans, I am Ben Phua. Singapore progress from a poor island to a prosperous nation is something we must thank our pioneers for. But today's problem can't be solved by just looking back. The PAP 4G team is struggling hard to handle real challenges. What do you think? During my walkabouts, when I spoke with residents, I heard many concerns such as everything costs too much. Housing lah, healthcare lah, daily needs lah, families are struggling and the government hasn't done enough. And that is what I heard. And the rich keep getting richer, while most people are just trying to get by. It's harder to move up in life. Social problems are growing. Mental health, youth stress, elderly loneliness. The government talks numbers, but real help is lacking. And housing and immigration policies feel unfair. Young people can't afford homes and locals feel pushed aside. The PAP once promised us a Swiss standard of living, but today, even a stable life is hard for many people. And do you remember on April 28, PAP candidate David Ho gave a passionate speech? But let's be honest, it sounded more like a motivational talk than a real plan for solving people's problems. Yes, his personal story is very touching. But once you are in the ruling party, PAP, will you still stand up for the people, even if it means questioning your own PAP party? What do you think? Yeah, during this time, many PAP candidates will tell you all the grand things they plan to do. A person can talk beautifully, but remember, words alone don't feed families or solve problems. Let's not play with words anymore. Just look at Singapore today. There is a significant number of families, people facing hardship. Do you really think those existing supports are sufficient? In fact, in my view, I think David Ho will make an excellent motivational speaker. And I mean that as a genuine compliment if he's listening to me right now. Yes, so what Singapore needs isn't just inspiration. We need real action to improve the lives of all Singaporeans. True social impact comes from real work, not polished speeches. Yes, I repeat again, not polished speeches. Voters don't need storytellers. We need leaders with independent thinking, the courage to speak out for the people, even when it's hard, to speak against your party if things are not right. David Paul is part of the ruling PAP. That limits how much he can challenge the system. His loyalty will always be to the party first, PAP first, not the people. What do you think? Passion stirs emotions, but it's character and courage that protect the people's interests. To the PAP 4G team, I want to say this. If you need to keep relying on past achievements, it shows you haven't done enough today. Singaporeans are not second-class citizens. We all deserve to live with dignity, hope, and a brighter future. Red Dot United believes everyone living and working in Singapore deserves fair treatment. Political diversity strengthens a nation. It doesn't divide it. Different voices should be heard and, very importantly, respected. Vote for Red Dot United. Vote for a better and more hopeful Singapore. Vote Red Dot United. Vote RDU. Thank you. 谢谢大家。
Now you know where we get the energy from, right? Thank you, Ben, for that passionate and rallying speech. Your voice is a powerful reminder of why we do what we do and who we do it for. Now, before I proceed further, May I encourage all of you to stand closer to one another in the middle of the field. Thank you so much for those of you who is joining us. And may I invite all of you on the field to give a round of applause to our sign language interpreter, please. And I want a very loud one. Because they use their hands to sign. Please give them your round of applause. All right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for tonight. It's time to hear from the key team. I'm sure all of you have come together to support this evening. The team standing strong in Holland-Bukit Timah GRC. Leading the charge is someone who brings heart, resolve, and deep dedication to the people he hopes to serve. Please join me in giving a resounding welcome to my fellow comrade, Mr. Fazli Talib.
Good evening, Singaporeans, especially friends, families, brothers, sisters of Holland-Bukit Timah. Allow me to begin my speech in our national language, which is Malay language. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Teman-teman, saudara-saudari dan warga Singapura di Holland-Bukit Timah. Nama saya Muhammad Fazli bin Talib, lebih dikenali sebagai Fazli Talib. Saya berumur 43 tahun dan saya adalah perunding kewangan. Saya berdiri di sini bukan sebagai calon di Holland-Bukit Timah sahaja, tetapi sebagai seorang teman, saudara dan jiran di Holland-Bukit Timah. Selama beberapa minggu yang lalu, saya telah berjalan di kawasan undi Holland-Bukit Timah dari Clementi Avenue 6 ke Gimo, dari Toi ke Wharton Estate, dari Jelapang ke Cashew, bertemu ramai penduduk di pasar, di pusat makanan, kopitiam dan taman komuniti. Saya dan pasukan saya bekerja tanpa jemu pada waktu pagi, petang dan malam di sekitar estate di Holland-Bukit Timah. Dalam salah satu lawatan kami, saya telah bertemu dengan Puan Woslina, seorang ibu tunggal dengan seorang anak lelaki yang masih menuntut di ITE. Puan Woslina disahkan dengan mengidap penyakit kronik selama beberapa tahun. Dia terpaksa meninggalkan pekerjaannya kerana keadaan kesihatannya yang tidak menentu. Dia menerima bantuan Comcare sebanyak 900 setiap bulan untuk membantu menampung pembelanjaan harian dan kadang-kadang Puan Woslina dan anaknya terpaksa tidak makan kerana kekurangan wang. Dia mempunyai perniagaan dari rumah dengan membakar kuih perayaan. Namun, disebabkan dengan kos bahan dan pembungkusan yang tinggi, dia tidak dapat mengekalkan perniagaannya. Saya juga pernah berjumpa dengan Puan Kor, 65 tahun, yang tinggal bersama ibu yang sudah tua. Puan Kor kehilangan pekerjaannya selepas dia diserang penyakit angin ahma. Dia menerima dana bantuan sebanyak $500 sebulan dari Pusat Khidmatan Keluarga atau FSC. Tetapi ia tidak mencukupi. Dia telah menghantar banyak permohonan pekerjaan tapi tidak dapat memperolehi sebarang pekerjaan. Daripada interaksi saya dengan mereka, saya dapat merasakan perjuangan mereka. Puan Roslina dan Puan Kor sangat berazam untuk menyediakan sara hidup yang layak untuk keluarga mereka, tetapi kos sara hidup yang terlalu tinggi untuk mereka. Teman-temanku di Holland-Bukit Timah, cerita mereka ini tidak unik. Kami telah mendengar lebih banyak dalam lawatan kami. Ia sangat menghancurkan hati kita. Ya, pemerintah menyediakan sedikit bantuan untuk mereka, tetapi adakah ia mencukupi untuk keperluan mereka? Adakah ia membantu mereka menjamin masa depan orang yang tersayang? PAP terus bercakap tentang generasi perintis, generasi merdeka. Tetapi sebenarnya hanya ada satu generasi, iaitu generasi kekayaan. Generasi kekayaan untuk diri mereka sendiri dan rakan-rakan bilioner mereka. Pemberian voucher CDC hanya mengurangkan masalah untuk masa depan yang singkat. Ia bukan penyelesaian jangka panjang. Perniagaan tempatan kami juga bergelut. Sewa tinggi, inflasi, kekurangan tenaga kerja, kos bekalan tinggi dan banyak lagi. Beberapa hari lalu, Encik Vivian Balakrishnan berkata bahawa pembahasan kos sara hidup perlu memberi tumpuan kepada penyelesaian. Saya setuju. Dan penyelesaian dia buat apa? Naikkan GST? Adakah PAP telah berunding untuk dengan rakyat mengenai kenaikan GST daripada 7% kepada 9% sejurus selepas pandemik COVID-19? Adakah mana-mana ahli parlimen di PAP bagi Holland-Bukit Timah mengundi menentang kenaikan GST? Encik Christopher D'Souza, adakah dia mengundi untuk menentang kenaikan GST? Bagaimana dengan Puan Sim Ann? Encik Edward Chia? Dan juga bagaimana pula dengan Encik Vivian Balakrishnan yang tinggal di banglo hitam putih yang mewah? Betul tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, tiada seorang pun daripada ahli parlimen PAP yang melakukannya. Sangat baik dalam corak cut. Tetapi apabila ia benar-benar penting, anda tidak boleh bergantung kepada mereka. Tapi saya boleh memberitahu kepada anda dan kawan-kawan saya, jika kami berempat berada di parlimen hari ini, anda akan mempunyai 4 undian untuk menentang kenaikan GST. Teman-teman sekalian, Red Dot United kini berada di Holland-Bukit Timah, mendengar perjuangan anda, kebimbangan anda dan aspirasi anda. Saya dan pasukan saya di sini bersedia untuk berkhidmat kepada anda, untuk berjalan bersama dengan anda di Holland-Bukit Timah. Kita perlu memaklumkan perkara ini kepada PAP. Cukuplah dengan kenaikan GST. Cukuplah dengan polisi yang tidak munasabah. Rakyat harus hidup dengan bermawar, tidak bergantung kepada voucher CDC sahaja. Ibu bapa, anak lelaki, anak perempuan yang bekerja keras sepanjang hidup mereka, berjuang mencari pekerjaan untuk menjara keluarga mereka. Pasangan muda bimbang jika mereka dapat mampu membeli rumah pangsa yang lebih dekat dengan ibu bapa mereka. Ibu bapa muda pula bimbang sama ada mereka mampu untuk membesarkan anak-anak kecil mereka. Warga emas rasa bimbang jika mereka dapat bersara atau jika mereka menjadi beban untuk keluarga mereka. Penduduk di Holland-Bukit Timah, anda adalah warga kelas pertama. Anda layak menjadikan pemimpin yang mendengar suara rakyat, yang boleh menjadi suara rakyat. Encik Syarat, Encik Emily dan Encik Nizar Subir dan saya sendiri di sini adalah untuk anda, bersama dengan anda dan oleh anda untuk Holland-Bukit Timah. Terima kasih teman-teman. Jadi pada 3 Mei, hari Sabtu ini undi anda untuk RDU adalah undi untuk masa depan anda. Undi untuk RDU adalah undian untuk kejiranan yang bergotong royong. Undi untuk RDU ialah undi untuk anak-anak anda dan cucu-cucu anda. Undi untuk RDU adalah undi untuk Singapura yang lebih baik hati dan lebih adil. Maka undilah RDU. Undi RDU. Terima kasih.
Wah, 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 untuk anda Holland-Bukit Timah. Thank you, Mr. Fazli, for your inspiring speech. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Someone I first met during GE 2020 when I was a candidate. I still remember that evening clearly. She was having dinner when I approached her during one of our walkabouts. Yes, she is a resident of Jurong GRC. Fast forward to today, and I am deeply honored that she chose to volunteer with Red Dot United from that very year. After working with us for 5 years, she has now agreed to step up as a candidate. Please join me in giving a rousing welcome to another member of Red Dot United Holland-Bukit Timah GRC team, Miss Emily Wu.
大家晚上好，荷兰古吉芝马集选区的居民们，你们好。我是胡佳颖 Emily Wu， 59岁。我是一位音乐老师，毕业于 l'Institut Catholique de Paris， 就是代表巴黎天主教大学。在我的第一次群众大会上，我讲述了我在荷兰古吉芝马集选区的一个小贩中心遇见了62岁的一位乐龄人士，叫 Mr. Sami 先生。他患有糖尿病，少了2只脚趾，每个月只靠500新元过生活，扣除了300块的房租和水电费后，Sami 先生只剩200块做生活费。我问你，够吗？200块生活费够吗？假设Sami 先生每天只吃一餐，一餐最基本的6块钱，一个月假设是30天，乘6块钱就成为180块，最后只剩20块买药，20块新币，只剩下20块新币，够吗？这够他看病的自付费用吗？这样的生活，试问有尊严吗？在红点同心党2025宣言的新社会末约中，我们提出新5大理想之一的关怀医疗 Medifund 作为首要安全网，并扩大及援助，确保医疗体系在不同收入层保持可负担性与包容性。 最近，在近期一场电视讨论中，某位部长提到，新加坡人在政府医疗机构就诊时自付费用无需超过100块新币。试问，执政党是否与普通民脱节？答案是肯定的。第二，试问，乐龄人士是否因年龄问题难以就业？答案同时也是肯定的。50岁以上的新加坡人本就因为年龄面临求职困难，即使是通过 Skills Future 技能创建成接受再培训并尝试转行，学校提供的培训中心提供的也只是提供课程，多数他不会将学生们乐龄的学员们推荐于工作招聘会，学生们要自己亲自去参加招聘会，单位也要注重范围在 F&B 就是餐饮，还有环境清洁或保安等这些工作。我们是否能用 Skills Future 的 credit 来支付课程费用呢？答案是是，也是否。最初的1000新币我们是能用，这个是25岁以上的新加坡人能用。如果你是超过40岁的话，那个津贴是达到78%，那其余的38%呢？其余的38%你是能用1000块，不过假设你用完了之后，你就要自付了，从自己的荷包支付。那40岁以下的呢？40岁以下的新加坡人，那个津贴就是政府津贴到38%，那个78%你也是可以用你的1000块去支付。那假设用完了呢？怎么办呢？那你也是要自付，从自己的荷包自付。最新发放的那个4000块的学分呢，他鼓励新加坡人学什么呢？很多课程都不能学，有少数能学，就是鼓励尤其是乐龄人士去上那些通信的文凭，内容包括 Facebook 面部分析、TikTok 营销等模块。试问这些课程真的能带来实际的工作吗？对乐龄人士一代来讲，实际吗？如果学来就是自己用，可能还可以，不过如果真的当工作，就有点难了。我身为一个比较乐龄的年长者，我寻找工作的时候，就是兼职工作或者多一份工作的时候，有一次我去一个工作商展会，我的学历完全符合户主的要求，招聘人甚至邀我次日去面试。不过当我故意的在我的简历中注明我的年龄后，对方再无阴影。正因如此，本身我更能了解乐龄人的处境。若年长者仍希望能有体面的收入，还有身心条件允许，我们不应该因为他们乐龄了，不再年轻了，就加以歧视。乐龄人，有年龄的人，要的是过得有尊严的生活，不要他们不是时常都要依赖救济。我们的建国一代和立国一代为新加坡用了数十年汗水，建造了今日的新加坡。中老年群体与年轻的新加坡一代同样重要。新加坡属于我们全部新加坡人，让我们一起建立更美好的新加坡。在我们的家园，我们每个人都是第一等公民，不是第二等公民。所有新加坡人 都期待有一个更美好的新加坡。请赋予我们的使命，让红点同心党投红点同心党 Red Dot United 一票。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Miss Emily. Again, I'm in awe, inspired by you usually. Our next speaker has been with us since GE 2020 too. I mean, GE 2020 as well. I'm truly heartened to witness how he has grown in confidence and shown great courage in accepting our invitation to step up as a candidate. See, he's also very eager to step out right now. He's prepared to make a personal sacrifice, including putting his career on hold. Please join me to welcome Mr. Nizar Zubair.
Good evening, my fellow Singaporeans. Good evening, residents of Holland-Bukit Timah. My name is Nizar Zubair. I grew up here. This neighborhood has been my home since I was a boy. I know this place well. The coffee shops where families gather. The markets where neighbors greet one another like old friends. The parks where our children and the seniors share their everyday lives. This is not just where I live, this is where I belong. Tonight, I stand before you not as a career politician, but as someone, and not as someone polished consultant, but as someone who has lived the same life as many of you. I worked hard for 30 years. I thought if I had given my best, I would always have a place in Singapore's workforce. But I was wrong. I got retrenched. And years after that, it was just like that. No job. What did I do? I got myself a security job to work at night and doubled up as an admin in the daytime. Life was not easy. It was not glamorous at all. But I had to make that painful decision. We are all adults, mature. We had to make that responsibilities to work for our family and to put the food on the table. I did not have the luxury to wait. It was not easy, but it was necessary. Carrying on was getting harder for many of us. Everywhere I go, I hear the same story. People who have worked hard all their lives, struggling to find jobs that can support families. Young parents worrying about whether they can afford to raise another child. Seniors worrying if they can ever retire. And yet, what do we hear from the current MPs in Holland-Bukit Timah? When we raise concerns about the cost of living, Mr. Edward Chia tells us that a hawker meal only costs 0.1% of your monthly income. As if Singaporeans live only by counting chicken rice plates. As if we had no mortgages, no school fees, no transport costs, no healthcare bills. This is not leadership. This is detachment. It shows how far removed some of our leaders have become from the everyday lives from ordinary Singaporeans. And this is not an isolated moment. We have also seen Mr. Chia once proudly shared that as a boy, he bred and sold hamsters for profit. When animal welfare groups highlighted that breeding animals without a license is irresponsible, he did not apologize. He didn't say a word. He didn't say he was sorry. He simply said he had a good conversation with the hamster society. He said he will look for opportunities to support their work. No real acceptance, no real ownership. My friends, Singaporeans are fair people. We don't expect perfection. We know everyone makes mistakes, even when young. But when mistakes are made, we expect honesty. We expect responsibility. If a person cannot even say, I am sorry for a small mistake in their own story, how can we trust him with our lives for bigger things that affect all of us in our lives? Leadership is not just about clever numbers or good public relations. Leadership is about heart. It's about standing up for people who place their trust in you. It's about knowing what matters and fighting for it. That is why I truly am standing here tonight. I'm not here to chase titles or $1 million salaries. Not at all. I'm here because I know what it feels like to worry about tomorrow. I still have that worry. I'm here because I have walked through retrenchments, through tough times, through depression, and I have come back stronger. I am here because I believe that Singaporeans deserve to be treated as first-class citizens. Not just in name, but in the way we are supported, respected, and given real opportunities. I am here because I believe in building a fairer Singapore, where no one will be left behind, where hard work is honored, and where families can dream again. And right here in Holland-Bukit Timah, our promise to you is simple: fair value for all, fair value for your work, fair value for your hopes, fair value for your future. When you vote for me, you are not voting for a career politician. You are voting for a neighbor, believe me, who knows you and your life. You are voting for someone who will work with you, not above you. This election is not just about sending another MP into Parliament. It is about sending a very crucial message. A message that hard work must mean something. That raising a family should not mean living in fear of the next bill. That dignity is not a gift, but our rights. If you believe in that, I ask you, walk with me. Please stand with me. Vote for fairness, vote for dignity, vote for a better tomorrow. Vote for Red Dot United. Vote Nizar Subir. Together, let us all build a Singapore that we can be proud to call home. A truly first world country for everyone. Thank you. Majulah Singapura.
Thank you, Nizar. And here's Mr. Sharat, your fellow candidate for Holland-Bukit Timah GRC.
Good evening, fellow Singaporeans. My name is Sharat Kumar. I'm 25 years old. I'm an assistant engineer trained in mechatronics, working in an MNC. I am a proud Singaporean. Like many citizens, I believe in the power of honesty and hard work. And today, I want to start with honesty. I am still getting to know Holland-Bukit Timah. I won't pretend otherwise. But I also believe that honesty is the foundation of trust. If you give me a chance, if you give me your mandate, I promise you this. Over the next 5 years, before the next general election comes around, I will get to know each and every one of you. Not as a politician at a distance, but as a neighbor, a friend, and an advocate who will stand with you in sunshine and in storm. Covered walkways, but no shelter for life's storms. In my walkabout so far, I've seen that Minister Vivian Balakrishnan has been instrumental in building many covered walkways across the constituency. And that's great. No one likes getting caught in a thunderstorm. We all appreciate infrastructure that makes daily life easier. We should give credit where it's due. But tonight, I want to ask, what about other kinds of storms? The storms of life that no walkway can shelter you from. The job losses, the soaring costs, the rising sense of insecurity about the future. Where's the covered walkway for these storms? Because in Holland-Bukit Timah and across Singapore, the truth is simple. Everyone's getting soaked and not enough are finding shelter. And if I may speak honestly, especially as a young Singaporean, the storm we are facing today isn't just about rain falling from the sky. It's about real fears falling on our generation's future. Too often, when young people lose jobs or struggle with low pay, we are told by those in power, don't focus on your paycheck, focus on getting exposure. Don't worry about money, think about character building. But exposure doesn't pay the bills. Exposure doesn't cover the monthly loan repayment for our education. Exposure doesn't pay for transport fares that keep rising. Exposure doesn't help when we want to start a family and the cost of a small HDB flat feels out of reach. Exposure doesn't settle hospital bills for our aging parents. Exposure doesn't buy groceries at the supermarket where prices creep up every month. We work hard and still it feels like we are running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. The expenses young Singaporeans face today are not luxuries. They are basic responsibilities. Helping our parents, saving for a wedding and a home, building up emergency savings, preparing for our own retirement, knowing CPF alone may not be enough. And while we shoulder these burdens, those sitting in million-dollar offices tell us that struggle builds character. No, struggle without fairness doesn't build character. It builds exhaustion, it builds resentment, it builds a generation that feels abandoned. If we really value young people, we need to respect their time, respect their efforts, and respect their dreams. Not just tell them to endure more for less. That's not leadership, that's lordship. When leaders fail to lead, and speaking of leadership, let's talk what happened recently. Former NMP Kelvin Cheng made a post suggesting that pro-Palestinian activists should be sent to Gaza and not allowed to return to Singapore. The post didn't just offend, It wounded an entire community. It hurt the very fabric that holds Singapore together. Even Prime Minister Lawrence Wong said it was completely unacceptable. Minister Masagos Zulkifli also condemned it for undermining our social cohesion. But it was this very post that Minister Vivian Balakrishnan's Facebook account liked. He later said it was unauthorized, that it was referred to Meta for investigation. But when you are Minister of the Government of Singapore, your words, your actions, your silence, even your Facebook likes all matter. Leadership is not just about building structures, it's about building trust. And the trust cannot survive on ambiguity. Clean ceilings and double standards. Minister, do you remember your clean ceiling speech? I was only 13 years old then, but even at that age, I had a keen interest in politics. I paid attention because it was important. It was about clean politics. Back then, you accused the Workers' Party of dishonesty over the cleaning of hawker center ceilings in Aljunied, Hougang, Punggol East Town Council. You said in Parliament, all of us will make mistakes. When a mistake is made, just come clean. Don't cover up. Those were powerful words about integrity and accountability. But now I must ask, do these standards apply equally to all? Do they apply to all? When Minister Vivian's own Facebook account liked a post suggesting that pro-Palestinian activists be sent to Gaza, he claimed it was unauthorized and referred the matter to Meta for investigation. But the public deserves clarity. Leadership demands transparency. If we do not correct this elitism today, not tomorrow, not 10 years later, but today, then we will pass down a Singapore that is broken. A Singapore where power is inherited, not earned, where dreams are sold to the highest bidder, when the young grow up not with hope, but with anger and disillusionment. I refuse to accept that future, and I believe you refuse too. Because anger and disillusionment are destructive forces that affect the mental well-being of young people like me. It is a fact that 1 in 3 young people aged 15 to 35 in Singapore have reported experiencing severe or extremely severe symptoms of depression, anxiety, or stress. Let me say that again, 1 in 3. And beyond statistics, there's the deeper issue, a pervasive sense of hopelessness from a system that feels rigged against us. When young Singaporeans see a future where hard work doesn't guarantee stability, where opportunities feel reserved for the privileged few, it's no wonder despair sets in. Minister Vivian, as a medical doctor, I believe you know about these things. But the question is, do you truly want to understand? It's not enough to acknowledge these issues. Action is what's needed. We cannot continue on this same trajectory, expecting our youth to bear the weight of systemic failures. The mental health is not a side issue. It's a reflection of the health of our society itself. A new beginning starts here. Society's health, our society's health. Especially for a young person like me, it's not good. And I don't need to be a doctor to diagnose that. I'm not here tonight promising the easy road. I'm here promising the necessary one. Leadership is not about wearing nice suits and speaking polished words. Leadership is about standing up, even when it's uncomfortable, for the people you serve. If you give me a chance, if you give Red Dot United a chance, we will fight to restore fairness. We will fight to restore hope. We will fight for Singapore, where every young person can dare to dream again. Not because they are privileged, but because they are Singaporean. Where every Singaporean feels like a first-class citizen in his own country, the only home he has, where Singapore is fairer to all who call Singapore their home. That is the Singapore we can love. That is the Singapore we must defend. That is the Singapore we must build together. And building it together, we can, if you give us your vote on 3rd May. So with all humility, I, a 25-year-old young man, ask you, give me your vote. Give Red Dot United your vote. Thank you. Majulah Singapura.
Fellow Singaporeans, fellow voters, I'm Ravi Philamon, the Secretary General of Red Dot United. I'm very thankful to this team that has stepped up here today with me to give hope, to give a chance for Singaporeans to have fair representation as to who would represent them in Parliament. Red Dot United is the second largest team to field candidates in this general election. Only after the Workers' Party. And this didn't happen by chance. It happened because at Red Dot United, we believe that we have to punch above our weights. Why do we need to punch above our weights? Because it is the lives of Singaporeans that are important in this. It is the lives of Singaporeans that we are talking about. We have to do more. We have to draw on more strength. And sometimes it even feels like drawing on supernatural strength. Because what needs to be done is Herculean, nothing less. Lifting the lives of people, because people, our people, are important. That's what we at RDU believe. And I have proven it through how I live my own life. Look at my candidates. Madam Liana Damira. When I first met her, it was at the Sembawang Beach on the eve of the New Year in 2009. She was homeless with her children and heavily pregnant. Look at where she is now. A fellow candidate together with me on the stage. That is the kind of promise that I bring to all Singaporeans, to all voters, that I will walk with you. I will not walk halfway, but I will walk the full journey with you. Look at our candidate, Mr. Nizar, when he was retrenched after he held a high-paying position in the marine industry. And after he was struggling in doing two work, it was I who walked alongside him. And today, see where he is, on the stage together with me. That's how I walk with the people. That's the trust that I put on the people. And I make sure that I lift people up. And if I can do this for these few people who are on the stage with me, rest assured that I will do it for you. Red Dot United will do it for you. We will do it for Singaporeans. And I'm not only talking about jobs for residents, jobs for my friends on this podium. I'm also talking about jobs for the residents. In the past 5 years, we have walked the constituencies of Jurong GRC, and countless numbers of them have been helped by us. I'm not saying this to brag. I am saying this because it's a fact. And if we, without being elected, without having a seat in Parliament, can do so much, I want you to just imagine how much more we can do if you give us the mandate, if we are elected into Parliament. Behind policies, behind the politics, there is one thing that anchors all of us in Red Dot United, and that is the people. We get very worried when we hear when we hear that our ex-PM, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, kept it from us that the former Speaker of Parliament and another one of his colleagues from the PAP, they were having an inappropriate relationship. Not because we want to judge people, but because I think the former Prime Minister, he kept it from his people for 2.5 years. I think so. Why keep it away from the people? That is a very important question to ask. For so long, how can we trust the party, a ruling party that keeps important information from its people? Was it just to stay in power? For RDU, power is important. It gives us the ability to serve our people. That is why we have come to you in this GE asking for your votes. But power is not more important than the people. That is why we gave up Jalan Kayu for the Workers' Party to contest there. People told us we should not, that it was easier to win in Jalan Kayu. But is going for a three-cornered fight in the best interest of the people? People must always be more important than easy wins. That is what the party believes in. Look at all the constituencies that we are in. Jurong Central, Jurong East, Bukit Batok are places where we have walked in the past 5 years. Holland-Bukit Timah and Nee Soon areas where the anchor ministers have a lot to answer for. A lot. Some of them have been brought up by my fellow candidates who are standing in this constituency. To our ministers, everything is legal. Everything is constitutional. But is everything principled? I think that is a very important question to ask. A ruling party that is unprincipled is a disaster waiting to happen. They may do what they want to do, or they may do where they want to go, or they may go rogue, and the people suffer, and that becomes an issue. That becomes a very big issue. Already, there are million-dollar salaried ministers who are identifying more with the billionaire class. But the question is, do you trust them? Do you trust them to act in your best interests, or in the best interests of the country, or in the best interests of big companies and of the billionaire class? That is the question that is before us. I think I am told that we have to wrap up this speech by 10 p.m. And we started late. But I wanted to assure the voters in Holland-Bukit Timah that we are here to give you a voice, to give you a purpose, to let you know that we are standing with you. The candidates that I have put up here, they are not cut from the same cloth. They are not civil servants. They are not ex-NMPs. They are not establishment figures. They are people like you and like me. Of course, they hold good credentials. They are PhD holders. They are captains of the industries. They are senior professionals, and they can run town councils. That is the assurance that I give you. But I think it is important for you to realize when you go to the polls on 3rd May that it is always about you. For Red Dot United, it is always about the people. It is never about personalities. It is never about the party. It's always about the people. And so, when you vote for Red Dot United, you are voting for yourself. We are your vehicle. We will be your voice. We will speak up for you. If we don't act now, this could be the last time where you can act for yourself. Because if you don't act now, the next 5 years would be even more difficult for you. So, Singaporeans, the choice is before you. I very humbly ask, I will never scaremonger you like what the PAP does. I will never scaremonger you. The world is changing. Of course the world is changing. When has the world never changed? But I will tell you that we humbly ask you for your votes, because what needs to be done is urgent. We need to rebalance. We need to rebalance and make sure that power comes back to the people, to the ordinary people, and not to the billionaire class and not to the big companies. We need to make Singaporeans feel like they are first-class citizens in their own homes, the only country that we have. We need to make sure that Singapore remains fair for everyone who calls this little red dot home. So come May the 3rd, you have a very important decision to make. Of course, it will be a very scary decision, but I want to assure you, if I have shown you with my life that I have lifted people up. My team has lifted people up. And if I can lift people up, some of them who are on this stage together with me, I can lift up. My team and I, Red Dot United together, we can lift up your lives. Remember that when you go to the polling booth on May the 3rd, give RDU your votes. Thank you very much and good night. And I will want to present to you my team from Red Dot United. And let us take the pledge together before we close.
Ready, guys? Position. We, the citizens of Singapore.
We, the citizens of Singapore.
Pledge ourselves. As one united people. Regardless of race, language, and religion. To build a democratic society. Based on justice and equality. So as to achieve happiness, prosperity, and progress for our nation. Thank you.
Good night. Better get away from that.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
No, it's not. Go and greet them. Okay. Let's go and greet them. Ile kalana.